We had to have the Knot open, Thumbtack open, WeddingWire open, all of these different platforms. And we're just kind of constantly monitoring them and messaging. And once they say, oh, I want a quote, oh, I want this, oh, I want that. Well, now you got to take them off of the Knot and WeddingWire. You have to record everything off of the system, whether it be Google Sheet, into your own CRM, into your own platform, whatever have you, or HVAC software. And now you're really struggling to see how many am I converting. We built some API tools at one point using emails to like pull in data into Google Sheets, and then they cut that off. So now, as a vendor, you're very much in the dark. You don't know how many are coming in, where they're coming in from, what's that look like per price point, what's your conversion rate on those.
Awesome. We got Daniel over here. Looking forward to chatting with you. I know you just started recently, from what I could tell. How's business so far? How's it going?
Yeah, I mean, I have kind of a long story in the industry. I've been in the wedding industry since 2020. My business, Be Remembered, really took off in 2020. We were doing about 1,200 weddings per year and running about 146 vendors.
Okay, so not so recently. My bad. Maybe I misunderstood the website.
Well, no. So we are making a transition right now, and happy to get more into this story, into more of the vendor side software, which is really fascinating, a really interesting pivot. But as we were growing, a quick background here, I was in production before 2020. I was doing sports broadcasting. Really wanted to break free of that and do my own commercial production studio. So we started to build up our clientele, started to pay back the expensive equipment it takes. COVID comes in, shuts us down, right? Kind of takes our feet out from under us. And as we started to build back up again, we had found that there was a massive market for wedding and event photographers, wedding DJs. But what there was more than anything else was a structural issue. There was no corporate entity that were actually helping the vendors succeed. And what we zeroed in on really quickly was it was the structure, it was the business model, it was the overall entity that was helping the vendors, and that structure was so important for the couple to have a good day. So the WeddingWires, the Zolas, the Thumbtacks, all of these people, the Knot, they were really focused on the couple, and they were focused on it in a reactive way. They were saying, hey, listen, we're going to give you a bunch of vendors to look through. Go ahead, choose the one you want, pick them, boom, you're good to go. For us, what we had found was those vendors were incredible creatives, but they didn't have the proper tools. And if they wanted to grow their business like we did, I mean, we jumped from 146 year one to 1,200 year four.
Jeez.
There was no software to run it. And so there's no automation, there's no software. Your costs spiral out of control. You're in a place where you can start making a lot of mistakes because the software isn't actually attuned to weddings and events. And those are crucial. I mean, weddings specifically, you can't mess up. When we have 1,200 weddings and we're managing 146 vendors, you're sitting there, and that's a lot of human error to go wrong.
Yes.
And the HVAC software only does so much, and it does 90% of it really well. And then that 10% where it's not attuned to weddings, it falls off and a lot of problems occur. So our new software, Be Remembered Studio, is actually really interesting because it's a global platform. Anyone can use it across the world, and it's tied to BeRemembered.io. So it's not just a software, it's a listing site too. So anytime you plug in your couple or your customer, they instantly get their own BeRemembered.io account, where they can go log in, they can message with you, they can manage their day, their guest list, their guests can RSVP, they can build their own wedding website, they can have all of the functionality of a front-end user on the Knot, WeddingWire, Zola, with more. But that for once, that system is actually connected to the back end of the vendor's day-to-day business operations. So it's not just inquiries and a message. It's actually, hey, I just got this inquiry. Now I can actually turn them into a booking. Now they can pay right through that site. Now I can get their timeline right through that site. They can leave me a review through that site. They can get custom packages through our site. I can even upload all of their photos and store them on my studio software that's connected to the couple. So I can then go ahead and just say, hey, your photos are ready, and they get access to their drive.
Okay, so let me see if I have this kind of understood from looking at it from the outside in. I was on your website. I know you're also a vendor on your directory, essentially. And directories are really popular right now. So I think you're spot on in terms of your foresight, the direction that you're taking. So your customer, typically, the funds, right, they come from the couple, right? Ultimately, they're paying for their wedding. But then you have all these other vendors on your platform, and you'll have like a photographer, you might have like a caterer, you might have like a venue person, all of the different things that go into putting a successful wedding together. So who would you say is your customer? Are you focused on the vendor? Are you focused on the couple? Are you the orchestrator of it all? Or you provide the platform and then they figure it out?
We're mostly the platform and the vendor, but that doesn't mean we don't focus on the couple. And the reason why I say that, so our platform really allows them to communicate with one another. Like, we built that software for both of them. We focus on the vendor because if we can help provide the vendor with a better experience, more automation, where it can be, one of the things when I was growing this, we looked at our emails every day. I had 16 in-house people and 146 contractors.
Wow.
And the 16, when I was looking at their emails, my emails alone, were the same emails every day. And that was, where do I find my contract? Can I get a copy of a COI? Can I get a copy of my contract? How do I pay? And then my guys had to go in and we had to send invoices. Now, that doesn't seem like much, and to the average person out there, they're going, oh. But when you hit the 1,200 mark, that's a lot of emails every day. That's a lot of time, and it's a simple task. And so what we did was we said, well, hold on a second. Why can't the vendor just log into their Stripe account? And why can't the couple just have a portal where whenever they want to see how much they owe, they just click it and they just pay, and it's right there, and they can add a tip and they can check out. Or the vendor, if they get a check, they can just record the check, and the couple gets an instant email saying, here's your receipt, done. It's recorded on the vendor side and the couple side. Again, we're fixing things for the vendor. That's why the new studio is so vendor focused. But ultimately, it's leading to a better couple experience, because if they don't have to manage the email of how do I pay, if they don't have to manage where's my contract, well, there's a contract section. You click, you download, you're done. If they don't have to manage all of these things, they can actually go and be more personable with the couple. They can go spend more time chatting with them about how to get the best shot for their day, what they want, and they don't have to spend the time on the administrative work.
Which is a huge relief. I'm sure that's solving a lot of problems. Now, how does that differ? Because I'm not so familiar with, you mentioned the Knot. I know they're very popular. Mm-hmm. That's all I know, basically. So how does that differ? You said you have automations built into place. So do you make it a little bit more efficient? Is not providing that right now?
So number one, they're not. But the Knot, WeddingWire, Zolas of the world, they are lead generation tools. That's it. That's where it really ends. So what you end up doing is you pay, the average vendor spends about $30,000 in advertising per year. They're spending that, with WeddingWire, the Knot, Zola, etc. So they're going out there and they're saying, listen, I want to pay you $250 to $500 per a region in a state, typically. And because we did it, we spent 10 grand with the Knot and WeddingWire per month. I mean, it's outrageous. Wow. And we would go in there, we'd say, Boston area, and they kind of do this little cutout of the map. And they broke Massachusetts up into 5 different places, or 3, or whatever have you. And they said, Boston, that's more, $400 per month, and this one's $200. And you go, okay. So you spend your money there, and when a couple finds you, if they do, because there's so many on there, they then go and they can hit inquire. They can see a little portfolio of you, and then they inquire to the Knot's back end for you. And so as a company, we had to have the Knot open Thumbtack open, WeddingWire open, all of these different platforms, and we're just kind of constantly monitoring them and messaging. And once they say, oh, I want a quote, oh, I want this, oh, I want that, well, now you got to take them off of the Knot and WeddingWire. You have to record everything off of the system, whether it be Google Sheets, into your own CRM, into your own platform, whatever have you, our HVAC software. And now you're really struggling to see, how many am I converting? Now, we built some API tools at one point using emails to like pull in data into Google Sheets, and then they cut that off. So now, as a vendor, you're very much in the dark. You don't know, like you could count, but you really don't know, especially if you're doing quantity, how many are coming in, where they're coming in from, what's that look like per price point, what's your conversion rate on those. So this data that is crucial for growing a business. I said this to them once too, and I don't mean to put words in their mouth, but one time I called them and I said, could I have more data? And they were just like, yeah, we don't do that for vendors. And I was just like, what? They're just like, yeah, you probably have more data than we do.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't even collect it.
They asked to look at my data one day before they cut my API off. Oh yeah, because I said to them, I can't pay any more for you guys. I'm getting spam more often than not. Your conversion rate is the lowest of any site that I use. Your cost per customer acquisition is terrible. Your CAC is terrible. Yeah. And so I was like going through these, and they were just like, can we look at your numbers? And I shared my Google Sheet with them. I was like, you can see it like through this.
Interesting. And they're still like this? Like, when did you have this conversation with them?
You know, I've been on their platform. It really hasn't changed much. You know, they kind of, made it look a little bit different and gave you a little bit more information when the couple comes through. But again, you still have to come off the platform.
Exactly.
And so what we're trying to do here is we're not necessarily trying to go head to head with them. What I really want is for an all-in-one location, and this is what we built, where the vendor can manage every lead. So it doesn't matter if it came in with WeddingWire, the Knot, Zola, our site, you name it. They see it come through. They can either record it, or we're hoping at some point to have an API plugin. But they're seeing it and they're going, ooh, I've gotten 10 leads from WeddingWire this month. Great, I've converted 4 of them. Okay, that's my percentage. Great percentage there. Oh, they're now in bookings. Let me just message that client here. I have all my messages in one place. I go into my drive. I can see all of the photos I sent out recently. Okay, great. Those couples have opened them. But again, even with the simple Google Drive things, copying the links, sending it over to them. Oh, it went to spam.
Right.
Doesn't happen for us. For us, you upload it, you choose the couple gets a notification. When they log into their wedding website, it says, hey, your photos are ready. Click here. They see a nice gallery. They can choose, download, you name it, store, etc.
Okay. So the couple has just one platform they're going to, right? And then theoretically, all of their vendors would be on this one platform.
Correct. Yes. And the nice thing is, if you're a vendor and your couple's not on the platform yet, say they're on Zola or WeddingWire or the Knot, when they go ahead and add them, say they got them from a phone call, they added them to their Be Remembered Studio account, the couple
the vendor added the
automatically
couple
gets
to the
account.
platform.
Yes.
And then now from the couple side, are they dealing with individual vendors, like a photographer, then a venue owner, or is there also like a concierge service where you guys kind of offer all of it and they just interact with one person on the platform?
So we used to do that, and for some time, that was the desired approach. In my personal opinion, the way my brain works, that's a much better option, and I think it was for a lot. The problem with that now is people want to interact with their photographer, videographer. They want that vibe, they want that feeling. So we had to now go to all of your vendors are in the same place, but you get to interact with them individually.
Okay. Or you could mitigate that by hiring a wedding planner, and then that wedding planner is the one who speaks on your behalf, right? And then I
Absolutely.
imagine on
Yeah,
your platform, you have wedding planners, right? That are
we
advertising
do.
their services. Okay,
Yep.
so you could go
Yeah.
in and just hire one wedding planner and say, hey, you're my face for this wedding.
Hmm.
Interact with
Hmm.
everybody else on this platform. And that way it's like one person you're dealing with. And then if you're sort of like that
Right.
hands-on person, want to plan your own wedding kind of thing, want to be involved,
Hmm.
sure, you can have multiple vendors you just communicate with individually.
100%. Now, wedding planners only account for about 17% of the weddings. So it's not
Okay.
a very high percent. They're expensive. They're an
That's the
add-on.
thing,
People
right? They're
tend to take
expensive.
them up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Because you're paying thousands of dollars for a photographer, then thousands of dollars a venue, and then it's like, oh, and you got a wedding planner fee on top of that, and then you feel like you're micromanaging the wedding planner. You're like, I could probably do a better job than this, and maybe you just don't justify the cost. For high-end network folks, of course, a wedding planner is probably the preferred method because they're like,
Yeah.
give me my time back. I just want to have a really
Right.
good time. Tell me where to be, when to be, and I'll be there.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the solution a little bit. So you mentioned the platform a number of times. I kind of understand the automation piece that you're mentioning. Is that something you built in-house? Are you building this off of another platform? What is it?
Yeah, no. I'll tell you, I'll give you the quick backstory there. When we hit 1200 and the cracks started to show with the system, with our customer service, with our team overall, we really went on this journey of how do we grow this thing? What's the solution here? We looked into everything. I mean, franchising, we looked into a logistics model because I have an operations background, so that's where my brain tilted towards. And ultimately, when we did this analysis, and I have a beautiful an incredibly smart fiance, way smarter than I ever could be. And she was brilliant enough to kind of like take that step back and say, we're going to go ahead and really look through this here. And she said, what are you trying to solve for? What's your mission? And when we did that, we realized technology was the best solution here. I ended up hiring a Filipino team to build it. And I'll tell you, terrible decision on my part for a bunch of reasons.
I didn't know where you were going to go with that. I was like, oh no.
A lot of money wasted, but one of the biggest things that was not their fault at all. Want to make sure that's very clear. That happened was, as a product is being built, there are a bunch of micro decisions, left and right decisions that occurred, right?
Yeah.
And so when you go ahead and you're building something so new, that's so specialized, the idea of sending it somewhere else before before that's worked out, it just doesn't come to fruition.
Yeah.
So, between the language barrier, the time zone difference, and then their overall desire. I mean, I don't blame them at all. I code now. Now I understand exactly what they did. They're making all of these micro decisions that by the time it gets back to me, it's all the way up in,
exactly.
in right field here. And so you look at it and you go, what the heck is this? So to no fault of their own, that was the case. But what I ended up doing was taking it upon myself to say, okay, how difficult is this coding thing? Thankfully, AI is pretty impressive with what it can do. So I used an AI editing site to start. Because the project's so large in scale, it really couldn't handle that, which was fine.
Really?
But I ultimately had to learn how to code. So I did, and in about 4 months to 5 months, I put together our vendor side of things, which was massive. That was our vendor backend. I was about to create the couple side and then realized that I really need an admin platform because I was building it all React Native, so it's completely, native code. I then built the back end through the admin system. And then finally in August timeframe, we actually launched our couple side, and we actually brought on all of our couples for this year to test it out for the end of the year at least. Okay. And what was really cool to see was, we had a few problems here and there, but I was away one weekend and it was a big weekend for us. And I was actually in Scotland for a wedding, funny enough, and I just saw emails going out to this person and that person and people paying and doing this. And, in the past, when we've had a 60 wedding weekends, I wouldn't be sleeping. I wouldn't be breathing.
Right.
I would just be
You'd be
talking
looking at
to people and
everything.
emailing and connecting, and to see everything just, hey, boom, this, that, nah. It was such a good confirmation that the system itself really worked.
Wow, that's really impressive. So you taught yourself to code in 4 months, and then you built this thing based on React. What other languages did you use?
I mean, it's a lot of HTML and TypeScript, which I had HTML knowledge before, so that wasn't a big deal.
Wow. And you built it like 3 months ago? You know, there's like...
Well, there's a lot of iterations now, and
Okay.
I'll tell you. So
You
then
launched it 3 months ago. Right.
launched it 3 months ago. I have an incredible team. It's only 3 of us now, which is really kind of funny. But this woman, Sue, who's, part-time COO advisor who works more than part-time. I mean, she is kind of my right hand right now. She looked at me when we were building this. Well, actually, I should say after the release. So this is around September timeframe. No, God, this was October timeframe. And she said to me, she's like, Dan, this is incredible. Problem is, it only works for your team, and there's a lot of vendors that not only will want this, but need it. Can you go ahead and open it up to anyone? And I said, I didn't even think of that. Wow, I really missed it here. And so I bring that point up because we've been making iteration after iteration, twist and turn. We made a whole brand new iteration in about 4 weeks. I mean, those were brutal 4 weeks of us kind of just locked in a room getting it done, but we did.
Are you the only coder on the team?
Yeah.
Really? So have you dove into some of these AI-based platform developments like Lovable, Replit, and Base 44?
Yep. It's funny. Yes, actually, the best one I have found is actually, I have it up here, Bolt.new.
Or Bolt.new. Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
I think Bolt.new is hands down the best. That being said, it just has limitations for what we're trying to make it do and connect to and understand. If you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to get a product to market quickly, you don't know code or you have limited knowledge, man, jump on one of those sites. It's going to get your product to market. Heck, it can even make it to the point where you're selling and making money. The VC is out the door now. I think the angel group to me is going to die in the next 10 years because
yeah.
You have so much access here and you really don't need the funds. Give yourself a few weeks and work at night, but you can do that. The problem was, and I'm reminded of this by my fiance quite constantly, and she's like, you had to take on the absolute worst challenge, the most technical challenge. Why did you do that to yourself? I don't know, because I think I'm a knucklehead.
Can you give me I'm very curious now because, I feel very comfortable with some of these platforms as well. I also have a coding background a little bit, I have a cybersecurity background. And so what are the limitations that these Replit Lovable Base 44s have that you could not use them for?
Yes. So they have a code limit, number one. So there is a certain amount of code lines that they count that after that point, they essentially shut down. So that's what I hit very quickly. I have a lot of pages because there's just a lot my sites do. So every one of my sites hit them, whether it was the admin system because we're running so much data through there just to understand and be able to help adapt, etc. That was number one. The other thing it has a lot of difficulty with is intricacies. So when to use the database for this, when to use it for that, when to give someone permission. We use Supabase, which is an AWS, platform system. I like them for their edge functions, which I need to learn a little bit more about because I, don't necessarily need edge functions, but they do really good at serverless functions. So they integrate with Resend, which is our email platform, really well. They integrate with Twilio really well through their edge functions. So, and Bolt.new was the one who introduced me to Supabase. They're kind of directly integrated.
Okay.
But yeah, that's my database is massive. It's massive.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know they had the code limit like that. That makes sense now. If there's a hard limit and once you hit that, it starts crashing. Then it's like, you don't have like a backup at that point. That's a big problem, especially when people have weddings. There's a timeline there, as many businesses do. So, okay. Got it.
There's another thing too. They just integrated GitHub, which was really nice. I use GitHub for everything. The only thing in the beginning when they integrated that, they scared the heck out of me because one day it would save to GitHub and the other day it would crash and not be able to retrieve. And so it had it in this localized folder. They're local, I think they're owned by StackBlitz, Bolt.new is. StackBlitz has a lot of, what are they called? Trailers. They have their own storage type platform, I think, for the local hosting. And they were using that in the beginning, but that's probably where their coding limit came from. But I just noticed that as you get more intricate, you build an app on there, you build something that's just like, sign up, do this, great. But when you sign up and do this on our system, you're dealing with messages, you're dealing with analytics, you're dealing with rewards programs, insurance, PDFs, just so many API calls that I think it really had a hard time dealing with that.
Gotcha. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's really cool. And very impressive that you did this. Let's talk about the business side of the house. So the number of customers, revenue, where are you guys at in your 1 year, 5 year plan, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. When it was Be Remembered Services, we grew to 1.7 million per year.
Okay.
We have since scaled that. We did about 600 weddings this year. This has been a massive year of transition.
Holy moly.
So, and the reason why we did that was so we could build all of this out. We knew that this was going to be high risk, but we ultimately knew we had no choice. If we wanted to grow, if we wanted to build this, we needed to go through this process. November 1st, we started to build out a program for VIP team members. So these are brand new photographers, videographers, DJs. We onboarded a portion of our team to the platform that wanted to come on. But now we're starting to work with outside vendors to bring their teams on, to bring on more vendors. November, December timeframe is a lot of learning about, we're going to reach about 150 subscribers or vendors at that point by December 3rd.
What did it take to become a vendor on your platform? Is it a subscription that they have to pay?
It is a subscription. They take 100% of that. We have a subscription fee. We have 3 tiers based off of what you're looking for out of the platform. It comes with almost a terabyte worth of data on our site, so you can upload photos and videos there, which is why, where a lot of our costs come from. And then the fact that we're merging systems like Honeybook, all of these other systems, we have Stripe integrated for free in our base package. You can use Stripe to collect payments. You can list on our site. It comes with free listings on our site. That, 250 that you would be spending on WeddingWire and Knot, that would just get you one small section. It's getting you 3 sections. It's getting you a software. It's getting you data, gigabytes for photo and video, or terabytes, I should say, for photo and video. So we're just offering a lot more through our
So it says $250 for the base package per month, right?
Yes.
And then there's a medium package, and then there's a high package?
Yeah, so our medium package is $500, and the cool thing about that package is we actually integrate team members. So you can go and onboard 3 to 5 team members. Those team members actually can get access to the couple's booking information, the couple's information, a checklist that you create for them. They can basically see everything except the payment, and they have their own portal. So that way they don't have to see your analytics, your payments, your listings. Like, you as the owner of the company can really give them everything they need and nothing more, which is lovely.
Gotcha. And then what's the differentiator for the highest package?
The highest package, we actually build you a custom website. So we go in, and a lot of these creatives, as they're building, they don't know how to, they don't have the ability, so we actually handle all of the web hosting for them. But the cool thing is we put in their website blocks so people can actually still book and pay. It integrates directly into their calendar, their Google Calendar, so that way people can book them instantaneously at any time. And they have a website that doesn't even say Be Remembered anywhere on it, but it's actually running through our database, so that way their back end connects directly to it.
Gotcha.
Really
so they get this white labeled website, front end, and essentially you set up their online business for them, where they just have to do some minor integrations, right? Because they have to set up their own Stripe account, for example, with their own credentials, and then you guys set it up for them to make sure it's good to go. And how much does that cost?
That's $1,500 because we are running the maintenance for them every month. They get also 8 listings on our site, so they can choose anywhere in the world to use those. So a little bit different in that regard.
Sure.
But,
and so for somebody a little bit more established that might have a base somewhere, like you mentioned, they have their own CRM, let's say, and now they're trying to shift over to Be Remembered and just migrate over. So it makes total sense for them to do that.
And we also migrate for them as well. So we actually help them move everything. Yeah, we're helping them move everything. We're helping them build the site. We're actually maintaining the site for them too. And we also give them 2 terabytes worth of space on our drive.
Very cool. This is like this is like white glove service essentially. That's it. That's what every business owner wants. Like every customer, just do it for them, right? DFY. do for you, I think is what it's called, right? And then you just, so $1,500 a month gets you that. And then where are you building the website for them? Is it on your platform, or are you using another tool to build these websites?
That's actually where we use like a bolt.new. So we're actually using a lot of AI building tools for those. So we can stand up their site, get it all integrated. It actually makes it very easy to use a site like bolt.new because we just tell it to bite into our database. Here's the, the tables they should access. It's that easy for them. We'll go ahead and, again, if they have a different color design, a different system, they don't have to adhere to the BeRemembered.io colors. All of them, it can even look different, but it's all doing the same thing. It's that calendar integration piece, the booking piece, the services piece. So since we are in the world of web building and web hosting, we can manage that all right in there.
Nice. This is really impressive. So how are you marketing all of this stuff? How are you getting the word out there?
Yeah, so from a business standpoint, it's actually a much better business plan than we've ever had, because couples, as soon as you attach the couple's name to it, and as a service company, we were doing this, right? We would have to fight against WeddingWire, the Knot and Zola, because they have it on as a gated community. They're like, listen, you're not, barrier to entry is you have to go head to head with us or you have to buy from us.
Right.
Vendors, on the other hand, it's more of a ground and pound game. We can scrape for emails. We can go ahead and find, local vendors, reach out to them, chat with them. We can advertise them at a much cheaper level because we don't have as much competition in that realm. And again, the way we're going to build, which I think is a much better marketing plan, is if I get 100 vendors on the platform and they each have on average 20 people. Well, now we just brought all of their couples onto the platform, exposed them to BeRemembered.io, and they probably came on as a venue or as a planner or as a photographer, but they're still going to look for the videographer, they're still going to look for the justice of the piece, they're still going to look for all of these other components. So then we can go ahead at a much cheaper CAC ahead and say to that couple, hey, we have videographer for you, hey, we have this. And then that word of mouth spreads that, hey, listen, you got to go on this platform, you can manage everything, you can pay, it's so much better. So it's just it's a backdoor entry, but it's a much better CAC to LTV ratio there.
That's phenomenal. That's really impressive. Okay.
Thank you.
What else? So did we cover everything? Any say?
I think so. Yeah. That's the story in a nutshell. Constantly building and growing and plenty of twists and turns.
Man, that's really, really cool. I like your website. I like the way it was laid out. I was curious how you built it. Now that you mentioned that you actually learned coding within 4 months, it just goes to show that you're that whole concept entrepreneur where you're like, whatever it takes to get it done, right? And you feel so passionate about your business. You're like, if I have to get my hands dirty, I'm going to do it. And that speaks volume.
Yeah, I think that's the only way to do it. Every time I read about successful companies, legacy companies, it's not always the smarts, it's the persistence. You have to be willing to get down and dirty, and you have to be willing to hold on for dear life, because it is going to throw all sorts of things your way, but it's worth it ultimately. And that's how you get it done.
For sure. And so people that are referring their potential couples to your website, where should they go? Where should they find you?
If you're a couple and you're looking to find vendors, go to BeRemembered.io. If you're a vendor and you're looking to build your business, it was truly made by vendors for vendors. Go to BeRememberedStudio.
Okay, great. We'll put that in the description below. And thank you very much for your time. Appreciate it, Daniel. I will see you around.
Appreciate it, Sonic. Thank you. Yeah, we'll see you soon.